So hi there, this is Paul Beckman, Paul Rainbow Song again. There's some, I guess, fans, you can call them, of let's see, Samantha and Rafe together as a couple, and they've asked me to put parts on here that may not have any much songs on them or something like that. So anyway, and I'm also uploading all the other songs I've done. This is my second pass of doing Days of Our Lives, and I'm still uploading Young and Restless songs, all my children's songs, One Life to Live songs, and General Hospital songs. So I do need this time to go do that. So I'm just going to put this on, and I'll try to stop it before it reaches 10 minutes, and then when I come back I'll do a song. I don't know what part it will be at, but the people are looking forward to the living parts of Samantha and Rafe, because they watched a special preview show that has it on it, and they got in touch with me ahead of time and said, special day the 18th, so I'm doing that. And so I'm going to go back now. I'm going to turn this on, pardon the advertisements, but I will be working, and I'll come back and do a song hopefully before the time is up.
Linda Dreger looks at photos to remember better days, the days prior to October 25th, 2007, the day she found out her son Brent had been arrested in Miami with $350,000 in illicit drug money.
I said, I'm glad now I don't have to worry about him, because I wasn't sure what he was doing.
If she only knew then what she knows now. Brent Curtis pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 57 months in the California City Federal Correctional Facility, a prison designated for non-U.S. citizens only. There is limited programming and an abundance of gang violence. With the help of his sister Charis, he applied to be transferred back to Canada to serve the rest of his time. That was long before his niece Stella was even born.
Stella's turning 1 next week, and it's just like time is going by, and you know, she's growing up, and at the same time he's not a step ahead.
John Conroy says the International Transfer of Offenders Act was developed to help Canada ensure its citizens could be better rehabilitated and reintegrated into society. But the BC lawyer says there has been resistance.
The current attitude of the current government seems to be that people who have committed offenses abroad should stay abroad.
The problem is they don't. Almost all of the 200-plus transfer applicants each year will be deported once they complete their sentence, rehabilitated or not.
What's the best thing that we can do so that he doesn't reoffend? And that would be educate him, give him counseling, ask him, like, where exactly was his head when he thought that that was a good idea?
Last year, nearly 60 Canadian inmates were transferred back to Canada. The Ministry of Public Safety has told Brent's family his application is being processed. Brent is now on a hunger strike to try and help speed up the process, but his family isn't optimistic.
Shouldn't we be rehabilitating them? Shouldn't we be trying to get them ready to come back? Like, I don't get that. I am losing hope. And he's going to come back a bitter man.
Francis Silvaggio, Global News, Calgary.
And we want your thoughts on this story. Should Canadians convicted of crimes in the U.S. be able to serve their sentences in Canada? Log on and tell us your answer at globalnational.com. In Washington, peace in the Middle East was the focus of the first face-to-face meeting between the U.S. president and Israel's new prime minister. Barack Obama expressed his support for a two-state solution for the Palestinians and Israelis, something Benjamin Netanyahu stopped short of endorsing.
If, however, the Palestinians recognize Israel as the Jewish state, if they fight terror, they educate their children for peace and to a better future, then I think we can come at a substantive solution that allows the two peoples to live side by side.
The two leaders also discussed Iran's alleged pursuit of nuclear weapons. Netanyahu says it threatens Israel's existence and has not ruled out a military strike, while Obama says he prefers more dialogue and tougher sanctions. Sri Lanka's long-running civil war with the Tamil Tigers has ended the same way it began, in bloodshed. Government forces say they've killed the Tigers' leader and what remains of his army. The rebels had been surrounded and appealed for a ceasefire, but as Mike Drolet tells us, the military wasn't about to deal with a resurgence. And a warning, some of the images in this story are graphic.
As grisly as the pictures of the Tamil Tigers' last stand are, this is how the Sri Lankan military knew it had to end. In past weeks, the Tiger leadership had sought the help of the Red Cross to escape. They tried for a ceasefire, and then yesterday, with no other options available, they made a run for it in armored vehicles. When the ensuing battle was over, the bodies of Tiger leaders were shown on television. Proof for disbelievers.
Some of the dead bodies we recovered during the confrontations, and it was confirmed that LTT leader's son, Charles Anthony, is dead, and we found his dead body.
However, the body of elusive Tiger leader Vallabhbhai Prabhakaran has yet to be identified. Tamils around the world continue to protest. In Europe, Australia, and very loudly in Toronto. Until they see Prabhakaran's body, they won't believe he's dead, and that could be a problem for a country with an opportunity to put a quarter century of conflict behind them.
What we're going to see probably is terrorist attacks here and there, perhaps guerrilla-style insurgent attacks from place to place.
The Tigers pioneered the use of women in suicide attacks and invented the explosive suicide belt. And without proof the leadership is dead, an insurgency would have an easier time gaining a foothold. That's the first thing. But more importantly, right now, they have hundreds of thousands of displaced Tamils to deal with.
We have to be concerned about two things fundamentally now: the humanitarian situation. As you know, it might be people which are in their need of help.
The Sri Lankans do have a plan to mend fences with their longtime opponents, plans that include reconstruction and resettling. After decades of fighting, they don't have many chances to make it right. Mike Drolet, Global News.
Just over a week after Prime Minister Harper visited our troops in Afghanistan, the Defense Minister made a surprise trip of his own. Peter MacKay announced new funding for a forensic lab in Kandahar, as well as 11 new support centers in Canada to help soldiers transition back to life at home. It comes as the mission reaches a critical crossroad. Our South Asia correspondent Jazz Johal is in Kandahar, where there's a renewed push to defeat the Taliban.
It certainly wasn't a quiet arrival as the famed 82nd Airborne made their presence known. They're just some of the 17,000 American reinforcements making their way to southern Afghanistan. It's hoped their arrival will finally end a bloody stalemate with the Taliban.
Will allow us to go to places and provide additional security to the local Afghans that we haven't been able to do with the limited forces that we have here now.
The Americans are desperately needed in Kandahar, where Canada's 2,800 soldiers have been stretched thin. Half of the province will be handed over to a U.S. brigade, right up to the Pakistani border. Canadians will now be responsible for Kandahar city and surrounding towns. The ultimate goal, of course, is to provide a security bubble so humanitarian work can finally be done. The first test will be in Dehibag. Reconstruction teams will provide education and health programs to this community of 800. This new strategy wouldn't have been possible before the American surge, as Canada didn't have enough boots on the ground.
The maximum numbers that we could provide. Certainly this increase in force, this increase in size from the Americans is going to help to essentially clear the ground in some cases.
I don't see the show on there yet.
While the West discusses its lofty goals, the main focus for the Taliban presently is cultivating the opium crop. NATO estimates $400 million in drug money goes directly.
You gave up the right to
Sorry
react.
about that.
The second you went to Bo Brady,
I'll create a
ran
song
at
now.
your own family. Oh, for God's sake. What, you're gonna deny it? Listen to me, Philip.
A song by Paul Beckman, Paul Ambo song, created May 18, 2009, using the guitar chords
Deciding who's gonna be next. Seriously, getting
minor
confused here.
and
What are you confused about? You want me to write you a diagram?
The song's gonna be called Want a Diagram.
No, I'm confused because first you're idiots. Then you're
Do you want a diagram?
Make up your mind. Which one is it? Huh?
Well, I'll make you a simple one. I'll sing a short song, and now it's done. 'Cause 10 minutes is almost up, and that's all I got. Oh, well, it's done.
Is that it? Don't follow the rules because you're a champion of